This is part 3 in a 4-part series breaking down September elk hunting week by week. In part 1, I covered early September when I'm looking for predictable feed to bed movement patterns and hunting transition zones. In part 2, we talked about bulls starting to separate. They're moving more, becoming more vocal, and spending more time around cows. Now we're into week 3, roughly September 15th through the 21st. This is the part of September that most elk hunters think about most when they think about the elk rut. More bulls are with cows. Breeding activity is increasing. Bugling can increase. Bull-to-bull interaction can absolutely be trying to ramp up right now. And calling can become a much bigger part of the hunt. But I'm still not making decisions based on the date personally. I'm making them based on what I see the elk doing. I might walk into a drainage on September 17th and hear 3 bulls before daylight. One might be alone, one might have cows, and one might bugle once and never make another sound. Those are not automatically 3 calling opportunities. They're just 3 pieces of information. So before I touch a call, I want to know which bugle gives me the best opportunity and how I can get close to him. Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. I've spent 34 years hunting and guiding Western big game, and week 3 can give you some of the best opportunities of September, but it can also get elk hunters calling way too much. More bugling does not mean I stop reading elk and start just making noise. My system stays the same. I'm going to locate, I'm going to evaluate the situation in the elk, I'm going to try to position myself accordingly, I'm going to execute based on that positioning and the elk behavior, and then I'll adjust as I need to. Calling fits inside that system, but it doesn't just replace it on its own. Calling is not a system. During this part of September, I expect more bulls to be around cows. I expect more rut behavior. I expect more competition between bulls. I expect satellite bulls to spend time around larger groups of elk looking for an opportunity to steal a cow. I expect bulls to cover a lot of ground a lot of times, especially those ones that don't already have a herd. I expect more rubbing, wallowing, herding, pushing around, and vocalization. But every herd is different. Every bull is different. Every area has hunting pressure that can change everything. So weather can change movement. Terrain can change how much you hear. Drainage can be screaming one morning and almost completely quiet the next. And quiet does not mean the rut stopped. It does not mean the elk left. I still have to find them, read what they're doing, and decide what to do next. My play is transition zones. That's what I want everybody to understand. Transition zones are still a major part of my week 3 strategy, whether elk are talking or not, because the cows and bulls still need to feed and they still need bedding security and terrain, so they still have to move between those 2 spots. A herd bull, he might rely heavily on the cows, but the herd still has to move through the country. So if I can identify where those cows are feeding and where they're bedding, I can absolutely identify the terrain that's connecting those 2 pieces. That could be a timbered bench. It could be micro features like a saddle or a creek bottom or a timber finger or just an inside edge, a narrow route through otherwise difficult terrain, sometimes a saddle. But that same terrain features that I was looking for early in September, those still matter. They're still the same features. There are just more elk involved now, and the bull might be moving with them instead of following the simple individual patterns that we talked about earlier in the month. If I can get ahead of that herd with good wind, I don't necessarily need to call the bull anywhere. I can let the cows bring him to me, and that can be a really good way to hunt a herd bull, especially when he has a lot of cows and no reason to leave them. But week 3 also gives me more opportunities to locate bulls without sound. If I use a cow call or a location bugle and a bull answers from several hundred yards away, I do not immediately start a conversation with him. I have what I need. I have his location. Now I'm going to read. I've got my map out. It's amazing when you get that phone out and you look at the map after you hear a bull, what kind of connections you start to make with where he is, how far away he is, where exactly he is right now, the terrain that he's using, the terrain between he and I. Is he stationary or moving? Where could he be going next? Where's the bedding area if it's in the morning? And then I look at what the wind is doing. Can I close without being seen, heard, or smelled? Then I start moving. So I generally stay quiet while I close if he bugled on his own. I want to get inside roughly 80 to 120 yards before I start deciding how I'm going to call. I call that the bubble. Closer is better if wind, terrain, cover, and noise allow you to do it. If I'm going in because he made sound first and I didn't make any sound, I'm going in quiet. So understand the difference in the play here. If I made sound first, he already responded to an elk and I'm going in. A lot of times I don't care about the noise. I'll go in loud because elk are loud, especially when they're responding to one another. Hey, if you hunt public land elk and you're tired of grinding through random seasons, I built the Elk Hunting series of ebooks for you. Most hunters don't struggle because they lack effort. They struggle because they lack a system. And that's exactly why I built the Elk Hunting ebook series as a complete progressive framework for Western elk hunters who are done guessing and ready to hunt with intention. Volume 1 is going to be Foundations and Reality. I reset your mindset and expose the assumptions that quietly wreck seasons. In Volume 2, Finding Elk and Understanding Pressure, you'll learn how elk actually move under pressure so you can anticipate instead of react. In Volume 3, Terrain, Wind, and Position, I break down how to use landscape and thermals to consistently create opportunities. In Volume 4, Calling, Silence, and Pressure, sound becomes a decision tool, not an impulse. In Volume 5, Bow Hunting Execution, we're talking about close range strategy so you can finish your encounters. And in Volume 6, Late Season and Post-Rut, we're talking about how elk shift after the rut and how to adapt when others quit. This is a system built for consistency. This isn't theory. It's a structured system to help you find elk, read country, and make confident decisions every season. Buy each volume individually or bundle them all to save 50% off at backboneunlimited.com. Now, calling from 400 yards, that is pretty worthless in my opinion. It's just going to give him time to stand there, evaluate, be aware that there's another elk around. I would rather get close first. Once I'm inside that bubble, then the question becomes, does he have cows? That changes the encounter. If he's a solo bull, I want to stay non-threatening. I don't need to convince him there's another dominant bull standing in his bedroom that wants to fight. A cow call can absolutely be enough. One can absolutely be enough, a soft mew. It might just be a little social cow call, right? If I want him to know another bull is there, I prefer a non-threatening trailing or tail end bugle. I want it to be weak. I don't want to challenge him, don't want to scare him away. I'm just giving him something to investigate. Then I watch what he does. If he starts coming, I absolutely shut up. I stop trying to improve the situation and I let him come. Whether it was a cow call, whether it was bugle, doesn't matter. If he's coming, let him come. I want him to have to search. They're so good at pinpointing the sound anyway. I want him to have to look around for where I'm at. I don't keep calling just because I'm excited that it worked. Every additional call gives him more information about trying to pinpoint me or makes him want to hang up. If he knows where he's going and he's closing the distance, please shut up. A solo bull that's coming during week 3 can be one of the most callable bulls on the mountain. He might be looking for cows. He might be hanging around a herd without controlling it. He might be moving between groups of elk. I still don't need to start aggressively. I get close. I give him a reason to investigate. Then let his movement tell me what to do next. Now, a herd bull, different, right? If I've confirmed he has cows, I know he has something worth defending. I'm still not challenging him from across the drainage. I want to get close. I'm still going to try to get in the bubble. 80 to 120 yards is best. Could be argued that maybe that bubble is a little bit bigger, but the closer the better, in my opinion. Closer when I can. Now, I'm going to use the trail end bugle or the tailing bugle again. I just want him to know that there's a bull there. I don't want him to know how big it is. I'm not trying to scare everything away. I want him just to know that there's a bull that is close, not from a half mile away, but actually close to his cows. I'm another bull that sounds like he's gotten inside the herd space. That can create an aggressive response. I let him escalate first. This is where then I'm much more willing to to become aggressive, then I might scream at him. Then I'm going to add raking. Then I'm going to lip ball. I might sound like a bull that has moved into his cows and is ready to come in and fight to take them. But I'm doing it because I've confirmed the situation and I've already done the hard part. I got close. If that herd bull's already moving towards me as well, if he's on his way, I don't keep doing anything. I don't keep hammering him. I don't keep raking. I let him come and I get ready with my position. I make sure I've got good ranges. I make sure I've got shot windows. If he's holding his cows, maybe even pushing them away, I've got to use another option. I've got to stay with the elk. I've got to use the terrain. I've got to watch their direction, stay as close as I can without getting busted. Get in front of them again if I can. Absolutely. A herd bull doesn't have to come to my call for me to kill him. Sometimes the cows are the best call I have. They're going somewhere. I need to figure out where. And if I can get in front of them, that's still a killable bull as they pull him by. In addition, we could be trailing them and just wait for them to get to bed in the middle of the day, right? Or, I say middle of the day, but that could be 10 a.m. So I just wait for them to get to bed. Let them settle down, let him put them to bed, and then in as little as 30 minutes to an hour, he could be willing to come fight if I get inside that bubble and I talk to him again. Let's talk about another situation I see a lot during week 3. You hear a bull bugle once, then nothing. A lot of elk hunters immediately start trying to make him talk again. They bugle. They wait. They bugle again. Maybe they throw in a cow call. Then they throw in a bugle. Now they've given away their position. They've told that bull more information than they needed to. Maybe it didn't start to sound real natural, especially if they're calling from the same spot. I don't assume that silence tells me exactly what the bull's doing, and it doesn't tell me that there's anything wrong with the situation. He might just have cows. He might be moving. He might have heard me. Absolutely. He just might not care. He might have been bumped. The terrain might simply be keeping him from hearing me as well, or keep him from caring, or keep him from seeing that there's a realistic way to check it out. Usually because I'm too far away and I'm outside the bubble. So for me, I'm going to check the wind. I'm going to listen, look at the map, try to figure out where he's at, make my approach, get close. I'm looking for an elk instead of trying to force another bugle out of them. This is especially important in pressured country, which everything's getting more pressured, right? So by the 3rd week of September, a lot of elk have already heard elk hunters. They've heard bugles from ridges. They've heard cow calls from all over the place. They've smelled people moving through their bedding areas and on the trails. So I'm not assuming every quiet or strange sounding bull has been pressured. I'm watching his behavior. If elk are moving away from calling, staying buried in security cover, changing routes, or refusing to expose themselves where they were earlier, then I adjust. I may stop calling completely. I might go back to just hunting transition area. I might just try getting ahead of herds where I think they're moving. I'm going to hunt the behavior that I'm seeing and hearing. I don't try to call the elk into behaving the way that I want them to. I let them tell me what their behavior is like at the moment, and then I adjust. Now, 2-person setups can be extremely effective during this 3rd week of September. Obviously, shooters in front, callers behind. Don't let that window get too big, right? I like 20 yards. Now, that can vary. I want enough separation that a bull coming into the sound has to move past or into the shooter's effective range before reaching the caller, but I don't want so much distance that there isn't communication. In that thick timber, that separation might be relatively short. In more open terrain, I might stretch it a little further. I'm building the setup around where I believe that bull's going to approach and where I can create the best shot for the shooter if I'm the caller. And once that bull commits, I'm going to stop making any unnecessary noise. Still, just like if I was a solo guy, he already knows where the sound came from. More calling can just make him stop short and start looking for that elk that he heard. It can make him look harder. It can make him expect to see elk that aren't there. If he's coming, let him come. Week 3 is also a great time to stay in the woods all day. I'm not saying every elk is going to be running around bugling at noon. They aren't. But I'm not writing off the middle of the day either. Rutting elk can move during daylight for a lot of reasons. Maybe the cows move. Maybe the bull's up checking his cows. Satellite bulls are running around like crazy a lot of times. A herd can get pressured and move. A bull gets pushed around. The wind changes. Elk get up and reposition in their bedding areas all the time. If I have a bull located in general and I can hunt him with the wind, I'm going to keep hunting. Sometimes that means calling. Sometimes it means working a transition. Sometimes it means slowing everything way down and just trying to improve my position to get in close where it will help me when they actually get up on their feet again. So I'm only moving a couple steps at a time a lot of times during midday. I'm stopping a lot. I'm glassing a lot. I'm checking the wind a lot. I'm listening a lot. Then I move again. I don't rush through elk country in the middle of the day just because the morning bugling stopped. Now, go back to those 3 bulls I used as an example that we heard before daylight. I don't know enough yet to tell you exactly how I'm hunting each one of those only on the sound of their bugle, and that's important for you to understand. The bull bugling repeatedly in the canyon might be a herd bull, but he could be alone. He might be moving. I need more information. The bull that bugled once in the timber might have cows. He might also be a solo bull that simply went quiet. I need more information. The bull making short, irregular bugles, uphill, maybe worked up, interacting with other elk, moving, or just responding to something I can't see. I need more information. I'm not using the same strategy on every bull just because of one sound. I use the sound to locate him. Then I close the distance and read the situation. That's my week 3 approach. Find the elk, use transition zones to stay ahead of movement whenever possible, no matter what time of the month it is. Use bugles to locate when it makes sense. Stay quiet while you close. Get inside roughly 80 to 120 yards. Get inside the bubble. Determine whether the bull is alone or has cows. Solo bull, start non-threatening. Either be a cow or be a weak bull. Cow calls and non-threatening bull sounds, right? Herd bull, get close first. Not using cow calls, going to start off with a weak trailing bugle. Bull already coming? Shut up. Please stop calling. The herd's moving away. Got to stop trying to pull that bull back away from his cows. It's not going to happen. You got to reposition in front of them or wait until they hit their bedding area and then try to interact with that elk, or position and wait on them to get up and move. More rut activity gives me more options. It doesn't change the order or the system. If you think back on all this advice, the advice is to locate, evaluate, position, execute, and then adjust. Within that, we're reading the bull first and we're trying to get close. Then make the sound that fits the bull in front of you. Now, in part 4, we're going to cover the final part of September, one of my favorite weeks of the month, hands down, when hunting pressure has accumulated, and that makes it challenging, but when breeding activity can peak, right? That's when those cows are getting bred. That's what the biologists tell us. September 26th to 28th, over 90% of those cows are going to be bred. A lot of elk hunters make the mistake assuming the best opportunities are already gone. Check out the week 4 episode tomorrow. Now, if you want to get deeper into the system I use to find elk, read terrain, understand pressure, work the wind and thermals, build calling setups, and execute once you're close, start with my elk hunting series of ebooks on backboneunlimited.com. If you want ongoing coaching and a place to bring your questions throughout the month, join me on Team Backbone. If you want me to go through your specific hunt, your unit, maps, access, terrain, pressure, more wind and thermals, and overall strategy, you can book an elk hunt plan audit with me. And if preparation is the weak link for you, you can use my 30 years of experience as a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach to grab a training or nutrition plan at backboneunlimited.com. Choose the resource that fits where you need help the most, and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you in the comments. You know I read and respond to all of them. Can't wait to see you there. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.